Welcome to the Banking with Life podcast. I'm your host, James Neathery, and this is our New Year's episode, 2023. And so I thought for this episode, we'd do maybe a bit of a look back and kind of consider where we've been, where we've come from, what's going on, and then kind of looking forward. And so looking back, I want to say that I have tried with this channel to promote the idea, advance the idea that you can become your own banker. At the you and me level, you can become your own banker and advance the work of Nelson Nash as he discovered the infinite banking concept and wrote his book, Becoming Your Own Banker. He was a good friend of mine and a mentor. I've got to spend about 15 years with the man. Of course, he's graduated in 2019. But my commitment to him had always been that I would do my part. So I consider this podcast part of me doing my part, and just advancing the idea that you can become your own banker and you can control the banking function at the you and me level. And so going back in 2019, we started releasing videos. They were really pre-recorded videos of presentations that I had done at different venues, real estate events or self-reliance expos, medical, conferences. So we released some of those, and then I interviewed Nelson Nash in 2019. He was the first guest, and we did a couple of episodes with him, and then one with his son-in-law, David. And of course, David's come back recently and done a 3-part episode with me. Greatly enjoyed that. I've released mainly long form video and mainly on YouTube and Facebook. And I understand that, I have a Southern drawl and I speak slow, but I promise you can speed up the playback time and, listen to it at 1.5 or 2.0. The content I think is entertaining and educational. I try to make it that way anyway. Some of the other platforms we're going to get into, but mainly it's been on YouTube and some of the other audio places that you consume your content. We're available there. But some of the numbers, I've been informed that we've released over 300 or about 312 videos, including this one. This is episode 155. I've had over 60 guests on, and the majority of the guests have been clients. We've done 38 Q&As. This is where I've just answered questions that the listener and viewers have emailed. And I think it's a big deal with the clients that over the majority of the guests, like I said, have been clients, and these are just ordinary, everyday, all-American, salt-of-the-earth people, sharing their experience, unscripted, conversational, in a way that, we're just having a conversation about how they discovered the infinite banking concept, how they were exposed to it, and their whole thought process of implementing it into their lives, however they've done that. And we've had lots of different professions and individuals from all over the country come on and share. I mean, they don't have a dog in the hunt. They weren't paid. They were just willingly sharing their story, which can be kind of intimidating to get out and share a little bit about yourself to the big wide world. So I'm very appreciative of them, and I think it's very powerful, and I think that many of them are worth listening to several times. A couple that stand out are two-parters. One 2-part episode was with Damascene. Another 2-part episode was with Tyrone. And if you listen to those episodes, that you'll clearly be able to decide just from listening to them share their story whether this idea is worthy of further investigation on your part, whether you would want to implement it in your life. Very powerful. And I'm, like I said, very appreciative. I've talked an awful lot about the noise in the infinite banking footprint. It's quite prevalent. I probably spent more time on it than I've wanted to. I've talked about the noise in the general financial world, but I think it's important. I think that you can learn from everyone. You can learn from people what not to do, and you can learn from people what to do. And I think that if you know the truth, the noise becomes apparent, right? But, I just think it's important. It serves its purpose, the noise out there. This is not a hack. It's not a financial hack. It's not a discovery, that dug up with the ancient Dead Sea Scrolls. This is a legitimate, solid solution to becoming your own banker. And Ryan and I have even done episodes that have talked very specifically about different elements of the noise. I've talked about it myself, and I believe it matters who you work with, the companies that you own, the insurance companies, right? The policy type that you own, the product that you own, and I believe the structure of the product is important. And so I'm a firm believer in education, right? I think that I've really enjoyed some of the reoccurring guests that I've had on, like Dr. Paul Cleveland. He's an economist out of Birmingham Southern. He was a friend, and he was a friend of Nelson. I got to know Dr. Paul Cleveland through Nelson Nash. He was friends with Nelson Nash and an original client of Nelson Nash's. Very knowledgeable about the infinite banking concept. Wayne Jett, a historian, an author. He wrote the book, The Fruits of Graft, Great Depressions Then and Now. He's been on several times. I've done several series with him. And as a matter of fact, he'll be coming out. He came back on just in the last couple of weeks. So he's got an episode that'll come out the first quarter of 2023, and I think you should listen to it. He's an attorney. He's an economist. He's argued before the Supreme Court. And he's put the history together of a 100-year plan, and you can look around and pay attention of what's going on today and see clearly that it's just a continuation of what's gone on for over 100 years, and nothing's going to change unless you do something. Okay, my opinion. Then my friend Barry Dyke, he's an agent, an advisor, researcher among researchers. He's going to be on in the first quarter again in 2023. Written several books, 2 books, The Pirates of Manhattan, 1 and 2, and then Guaranteed Income. Then his 4th book that he's working on. I don't know when it'll be out, but he'll share with us when he is on, and he'll update us on that. But these guys have been kind of reoccurring guests that very enjoyable. I've had other agents and advisors who know about the infinite banking concept and practice themselves, and most of them are practitioners through the Nelson Nash Institute. Of course, Ryan Griggs, a co-host. He's been on about 50% of the 155 episodes that we've released. Very, very smart young man, very conversational. He's an academic, and a lot of our conversations can go kind of deep, but they're also very nuanced, well worth listening to. And I've been told we've had over 1 million views, over 27,000 likes, and over 200,000 hours watched. So that's impressive to me. Like I said earlier, my commitment to Nelson Nash was always to do my part. And so I see this as me doing my part, and there's some bit of validation there. So I appreciate you, the listeners, the commenters, the people who like and subscribe. Thank you very much. I think we're going to come close to 10,000 subscribers this year, or early first quarter 2023, this quarter. Completely organic. Nothing was bought and paid for. I don't really pay attention. We pay attention to the algorithms, but we don't play necessarily to the algorithms. We probably should. I get it. And like I said, we've been mainly on YouTube and Facebook, and we're becoming more active on Facebook. We have a client-only page on Facebook that we'll be more active on. We're going to I guess we've gotten on to BitChute, Odyssey, Rumble. We're going to get on Twitter and Instagram coming up and do some of the short videos, which I understand the value of short videos and I get the attention span. What I don't understand is making a financial decision based on 30-second or 1-minute video clips. So I'm not interested in encouraging anyone to make a decision on 30-second clips or 1-minute clips, but we'll be out there, have some exposure there to maybe drive listeners to a longer form, more educational type content. And so I'm appreciative, and I'm excited really for the new year, and I hope you're excited as well. Positive comments really excite me, and I'd like to share a few. This is author. He sent an email to Jess. Jess is a admin in our office, salt of the earth. I wanted to share with you and James that I am learning all I can about IBC from James's podcast and YouTube, and I'm totally understanding what IBC is and is not. That's very powerful. Understanding what IBC is and what it is not, what IBC is not. Everybody out there on the social media platforms talking about the infinite banking concept is not talking about becoming your own banker, as our Nelson Nash discovered and promoted and educated. Here's another one. I hope you are well. I wanted to thank you and all of your office team for great customer service and making me feel so comfortable. I wanted to thank your office for getting my policy questions answered and bringing clarity when things were a little uncertain. Thank you for the comment, Emmett. I appreciate that, and I appreciate the opportunity. Clarity is a virtue. All right. Here's a couple more. I could go on because we have a lot of really cool listeners and they're very thoughtful and they're very kind. And like I said, I'm appreciative. I've been looking into IBC and listening to you for 2 years. I ordered and read Becoming Your Own Banker and have read it several times. I'm fascinated by learning something new every time. I now understand the benefits of using whole life structured correctly, as well as percentages matter, 70-30, 60-40, 80-20, etc. Thank you. It does matter. Because of my recent experience with 10-year term expiring and the rates going through the roof, IBC is the way to go. Now think about that. Buy term and invest the difference. How simple can you be? What happens when the term runs out and the rates go through the roof? What if you're uninsurable, right? Dividend paying whole life for your whole life, structured correctly or just properly, is foundational when it comes to personal financial planning and personal finance. This idea that you can become your own banker is just, oh my gosh, puts jet engines to everything else you do in the financial world. Okay. I am ready to stop wasting time and begin building my legacy, starting with me, then my wife, and then to my 7 children. Gary, sir, you're productive. Good job. Listen, I don't care who you are, how old you are. Whenever you're exposed to the idea of the infinite banking concept, we're all playing catch up from that point forward. So you're not too old, you're not too young, get to it. Okay. Here's one, Jonathan. I've recently learned about IBC and have made it a huge priority to implement this concept in 2023 for me and my family. Thank you for all the great content and keep up the good work. I appreciate your efforts in getting the truth out there. Thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate you listening, sir, and I wish you nothing but the best for 2023. Perry writes, I'm very excited about IBC and have fallen in love with your podcast. Thank you, Perry. It's a labor of love, I promise. I'm currently trying to learn as much as possible I'm taking the last step in ordering Nelson's 6.5-hour DVD. Thank you for making available your 20% discount. You're welcome. And thank you for listening. I look forward to working with you and your team. We look forward to working with you, sir, and your family. So, looking forward into 2023, I want to go back to 2022. In October, we did a client-only live event in Fort Worth, Texas. It was fabulous. It's the first live event we had done in several years because of the COVID lockdowns and the venues closing down. We had, about 100 attendees. We had 25 different states represented. There were clients from all over the country. It was fabulous. We're going to do another one in 2023. And if you're a client, you should be there. If you're not a client yet, you have an opportunity. But the ability to meet other people that are practicing this idea of becoming your own banker. The infinite banking concept, controlling the banking function at the you and me level. You can't talk to 5 people that about high premium life insurance. They look at you like there's something wrong. They insult your intelligence, my character, and question your just intelligence, But look, they don't know what you know, right? They haven't read Nelson's book, Becoming Your Own Banker. They just don't know what you know. So, we got to have a little grace for them. But the ability to meet with other people that think like you, not just like you, but that pay a high premium, that have a high cash value, that are financing with their life insurance policies things that they were going to finance anyway, actually controlling the banking function, changing the direction of the trajectory of their family. It's very, very powerful. So, I spoke there. Dr. Paul Cleveland spoke there. Ryan spoke there. I'll have other speakers the next one. Very powerful. We're continuing to create content. We're creating content for our client-only access on our website. We're adding content for that. It's a bit longer form, but more in detail about, things like PUA and loans and interest and leverage, different examples, income in retirement. And from that longer content, we're going to do shorter content and share it with the general public. And I think it'll be very powerful and worth listening to and considering. We're also going to do, address different topics as they come up throughout the year. For example, interest rates are rising. They started rising in the fourth quarter of 2022. And, there's a lot of comments or questions on, what does that really look like for the life insurance industry? And what does it look like for, an individual policy? And shouldn't dividends be going up if interest rates are going up? And the short answer is yes, dividends should be going up. They should follow rising interest rates. But, we are dealing with mutual life insurance companies, and they move about as fast as molasses in the wintertime. Okay? So the dividends should rise, but they're going to rise after loan interest rates rise. So when the Fed raises rates, your local bank, credit union, they raise rates post-haste, the same day, the next afternoon, whatever. Life insurance companies will the variable rate loans, the policies with variable loan rates, they will rise first. They're already rising. The fixed rate loans may not rise as quick because they're already at 7 or 8%, whatever they are. But loan interest rates will rise first. Then dividends interest rates should rise. So will they rise this year? I don't know. Probably not, but I would expect them to rise next year if interest rates continue to rise. And, a lot of these guys in the home office, they've never been in this situation. Here we are coming out of the lowest interest rate environment in recorded history, right? 10, 15 years of low interest rates. These guys in the home office have not seen this, right? So they're going to learn some things along the way too, like all of us. But look, I spoke with a gentleman yesterday. He did a businessman, very successful businessman, commercial loans that he had conversations with banks, and commercial loans in his area are at 7 and 9%. Okay, so so policy loan rates go up. Okay, all interest rates are going up. Now you look at the companies that are direct recognition, that have direct recognition policies that, typically reduce or don't pay or reduce a dividend if there's an outstanding loan. In the industry, agents historically have been trained with companies that are direct recognition companies, to encourage their clients to have a relationship with a third-party lender, a bank, that, you can go down and collateralize your policy with the third-party lender, and you can get a loan at a lesser interest rate than your policy loan and still receive the full dividend. Okay, well, that really sounds good in low interest rate environments, right? Until you think through that whole construct, and here you're collateralizing the very means in which you can become your own banker and maintain the most amount of control, and you're going to collateralize that, lessen your control with a third-party lender. Ooh. So that'll be less attractive, right, for the policy owner to take their policy down to the third-party lender in this rising interest rate environment. I would expect that to be less attractive and good. Control the banking function at the you and me level as it relates to you. These premium finance concepts and illustrations and activities that have gone on for the last several years, they always look very good in low interest rate environments, right? So I'm going to go borrow. I'm going to take assets, collateralize those assets, go to the third-party lender, borrow money to pay a premium finance. I'm not saying that there's not a legitimate place for that. There can be a place for that. But, man, those things will blow up as interest rates rise, right? We'll see who's really controlling the banking function. And the more you have your property collateralized to the third-party lender, the less control you have, right? But I do, like I said, going back, I do expect the dividends to rise. I see 30-year fixed mortgages are now around 7%, 7.2% or above. 30-year fixed. I'm not talking about the games and the come on, low interest rate in the first year or two. So, I think, I don't know who said it, but, as interest rates go up, it's like, when the tide goes out, we all get to see who's naked or who's not fishing with a fishing pole, All right, but that whole structure, getting the third-party lender involved, collateralizing your private property, is really not that attractive once you think through that arrangement. At the end of the day, this is becoming your own banker. The infinite banking concept is who's controlling the banking function at the you and me level, right? And my encouragement for you, the listener, is to discover this idea, vet it, see if it is something that you would want to implement for yourself and for your family, not based on one presentation or a fancy presentation or a couple of short videos. Read Nelson's book, Becoming Your Own Banker. It is still legitimate, and there's not a new marketer that's come out that's improved what he's doing, or there's no bolt-on or add-on to make what he did better. No. His work needs no defense, but you should go straight to the source, Becoming Your Own Banker by R. Nelson Nash, his first book. His second book, Building Your Warehouse of Wealth. And the third book, which I think is foundational, is How Privatized Banking Really Works, Dr. Robert Murphy and Carlos Lara. Then I'm a little bit partial to the DVD, the video, Banking with Life DVD. It's available digitally. And then Nelson's 6.5 hour video. It's accessible through Nelson's website, the Nelson Nash Institute, infinitebanking.org. I think you can get it through our website, bankingwithlife.com, at the store. You can get it on DVD, or you can access it digitally. And it's Nelson Nash himself giving his presentation, 6.5 hours. If you'll spend your time, effort, and energy on these things, becoming your own banker, building your warehouse of wealth, how privatized banking really works, the Banking with Life DVD, and Nelson's 6.5 hour video, you won't need anything else. And you can clearly determine whether this idea is good for you or could be good for you and your family, you'll know clearly whether you want to implement it. And I think all of that would cost you under $250 or so with shipping, and it's worth it. It's better than a free download or a $1,500 course that's knocked off, $995. Go to the source, get the foundational education concerning the infinite banking concept, and decide if it's good for you. So that's my encouragement, right? Is just go to the source, discover this idea, expose yourself to it, and vet it. See if it's worth implementing, right? If it is, get to it, put your hand to it. If it's not, no problem, move on. All right, look, how's that for short form? Thank you for listening. I wish nothing but the very best for you and your family for 2023, and I appreciate you listening. Thank you.